Okay, we're holding now Daf Daled Amud Aleph Ve'ela. Ella. So now the Gemara now wants to know who's the Tana of our Mishnah. So the Gemara wants to know, is there a mayor, is there a Belazar? The Gemara says El really is Rabbi Lazar here. When does Rabbi Lazar say? When does Rabbi Lazar not require? Achasima on a get is heichedelek edim klal. So if there's no edim at all, then you don't need to have a chasima. When there is edim on the get, boy, then you need to have the chasima needs to be the shema. In other words, Rabbi Lazar is going to hold that a get that was not signed at all is better than a get that was signed but not lishma. So when you have a get that has no signatures, then he's going to hold that you don't need to have signatures. But if there's signatures on there, then you need to make sure that it's written lishma. So Amar Rabbi says, Rabbi Lazar will agree, even though Rabbi Lazar agrees that, or Rabbi Lazar holds that you don't need to have edim signing on the shtar, he'll hold that b'mezuyev meteichai, when you have a shtar which is forged, which in other words, which has chasimas, which are puzzle. For example, let's say a relative signed on it, or somebody who's puzzle, or is written shalei lishma, then he'll hold that it's shehu puzzle. So if so, the Mishnah, which says that you need to say b'fanei nechtav, is talking about that the get was signed, that there was edim signed on it, and according to Rabbi Lazar, he's going to hold, and in such a case, the ksiv and the chasim is going to need to be lishma. Okay, so now Rav Ashi says no. Hamani, I have a third opinion. Who's our Mishnah like Rabbi Yehuda? He's going to say that our Mishnah goes like Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda holds that the ksiva and the chasima both need to be the shema. The time we learned in the Mishnah, this is a Mishnah later on, Daf Chafala from the base. Rabbi Yehuda Paisel. Rabbi Yehuda holds that the get that was written, which when it was connected to the ground, it is puzzle. Why? Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, the kosav law goes sai on the ksiva and sai on the chasima, and he's going to hold that both need to be written lishma. So who's our Mishnah? From the beginning we wanted to say maybe it's Rabbi Meir, then it's Rabbi Lazar, but each one has one holds ksiva lishma, not chasim lishma. One holds chasima, not ksiva. So the Gemara says, Rashi says, I have a third opinion. This is Rabbi Yehuda. So now the Gemara asks the obvious question. How come the Chatchila, when we ask this question, who's the Tana of our Mishnah? Just say Rabbi Yehuda. Very simple. The Gemara says, okay. First, we want to see if a Mishnah is like Rabbi Meir. Why? The Stam Masnis and the Meir. We know a Stam Mishnah is like Rabbi Meir. So as Kol's man that we have an opinion of a Mishnah doesn't say who it is, Stam Mishnah is like Rabbi Meir. So since the Mishnah said b'fanei nechtam, Stam, we want to know if this can coincide with Rabbi Meir. And then after that, and then and then we started to see if the Mishnah is like Rabbi Lazar. Why the Kaimla Nichos Kafasei Gittin? Because we have it's mekubal b'yodenu that the halacha of a get, and like before I want to say not only a get but also shtaris. When it comes to a get, the halacha is like Rabbi Lazar, that a get that does not have signatures on it is going to be kosher. And then now the Gemara says this doesn't work, so I go and I find the third opinion. Fine. Next part of the Mishnah. The Gemara now wants to try to perhaps say that the machlekes between Rabba and Rava, who are Amoraim, of why the shliach needs to say b'fanei nechtam really is already a machlekes tanaim. So the Gemara says, Tanan, we learned in our Mishnah, Rabbi Gamliel says, Af hamevi min harekem min hacheger, even if somebody brings the get, a shliach le'ilacha brings the get, either from rekem or from cheger, to Eretz Yisrael, he has to say b'fanei nichtav or b'fanei nechtam. Rabbi Eliezer says, Afilu mikfar ludim lulud, even if he brings it from kfar ludim lulud. Now, Omar Abaya said, Ba'ayoris hasmuchen Eretz Yisrael, when it comes to cities which are next to Eretz Yisrael, that here our Mishnah is talking about Rekem and Cheger that Rabbi Gamliel mentioned are cities which are next to Eretz Yisrael. That's a fact. Rabbi Eliezer says that even Kfar Ludim Lulud, which not only are they next to Eretz Yisrael, but they're like muvlas, they're absorbed in the borders of Eretz Yisrael. The Tchum Eretz Yisrael, they're absorbed, what? They're surrounded, right? They're surrounded they're on the borders of Eretz Yisrael. Now, the Omar Rabba Bar Chana, Rabbi Bar Chana says, I personally saw this place between Kfar Ludim Lulud, And it's the same distance. Those who know the Pumbedisa map is the same distance as Beikuva to Pumbedisa, which is very, very short distance. Now, we know that Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Eliezer are adding. Again, the Tanakhama say that I maybe get Medinas Hayam, Tzar Shemur, B'fanei Nichtav, B'fanei Nechtam. Only when somebody brings a get from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. Comes along Rabbi Gamliel and says no. Even somebody who brings from Rekem or Cheger, which are cities next to Eretz Yisrael, also they have to say B'fanei. And that's who? That's Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Eliezer says, even if you bring from Kfar Ludim Lelud, which are mamish cities, which are like absorbed in the Tchum of Eretz Yisrael, you also have to say B'fanei Nichtav. Now, so the Gemara says, Michlal. So if they're adding on to the Tanakhama or they're bringing different shitas, Michlal Tanakhama Savar must be the Tanakhama hold, Hani Leit Sicha. It's mashma the Tanakhama hold that when you bring a get, when a Shlech Leilacha brings, either in the places that Rabbi Gamliel mentioned or Rabbi Eliezer, either the next Eretz Yisrael or the Muv Loim in Eretz Yisrael, you don't need to say B'fanei Nichtav or B'fanei Nechtav. So now the Gemara says, it must be that what is the Yisrael Machlekes between them? The Mar Savar, the Tanakhama holds that the reason why the Shliach has to say B'fanei Nichtav or B'fanei Nechtav is Lefisha Ein B'kiyin L'Shma. Must be is because people outside of Eretz Yisrael are not Baki L'Shma. V'hani Gemiri. And the people that live either next to Eretz Yisrael are Baki L'Shma. And therefore, the Tanakhama are going to hold that when you bring a get from these places, you don't need to say B'fanei Nichtav or B'fanei Nechtam because the people are so close to Eretz Yisrael, they know the dinim of the Shema. Umar, and it must be that Rabbi Gamliel, who argues on the Tanakhama Savar, he holds that the reason why the Shliach has to say B'fanei is Lefisha Ein Eidim Mitzuyim L'Kaimi, because you don't have Eidim in Eretz Yisrael to be Mekayim, or in other words, to recognize the signatures of the get. And V'hani Nami Le'Shchichi, and these people who live outside of the borders of Eretz Yisrael, they are also not Mitzuyim in Eretz Yisrael. All right, as like Rashi says, there wasn't really peace between them, and it was it was hard to get to Eretz Yisrael. It's like, South Korea, North Korea. They have that, the border. You saw when Trump went past it. So it's mamish like. But they know you can't go past the what?
DMZ is called.
Yeah, you can't get past the border. So these people that live in the Gvulas of Eretz Yisrael, they're also not Mitzuyim in Eretz Yisrael. Why? Because there was no peace between them, and it was very difficult to get from there to Eretz Yisrael, even though they're very close to Eretz Yisrael. So therefore, if somebody brings a get, has to say B'fanei Nichtav, B'fanei Nechtam, just like somebody who brings a get from Eretz Yisrael, from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. So l'chayra, that we have a machlekes between Rabbi and Rava Amoraim, the Gemara wants to say, really it's a machlekes between the Tanakhama and Rabbi Gamliel. Tanakhama who say, I maybe get Medinas Hayam, Tzar Shemar, hold that the reason why you have to say it is because people outside of Eretz Yisrael are not Baki L'Shma. These people who are next to Eretz Yisrael, they're Baki L'Shma. But if you want to say, and therefore he's going to hold that in these cases you don't have to say B'fanei. Mashenkin, according to Rabbi Gamliel, he's going to say that the reason why you have to say B'fanei l'chayra is because L'fish Ein Eidim Mitzuyim L'Kaima. L'chayra, right? So, what's the Gemara's question? You're telling me it's a machlekes Amoraim. Rabba, we don't really need you. It's already a machlekes Tanoim. So the Gemara says, no, that's not the machlekes. Rabba and Rava will tell you. That's not. In other words, Rabba and Rava are not arguing in the machlekes Tanoim.
You would think that was the reasoning for the.
Correct. So he says no. Rabba mataris l'tamei, Rabba mataris l'tamei. Rabba will tell you be mefarish the Mishnah his way, that all the Tanaim hold his shita, and Rabba will hold that everybody will hold like his shita. And the Gemara explains. Rabba the mataris l'tamei. Rabba will explain his reasoning. The Kula really all the Tanaim in the Mishnah will hold that the reason why you have to bring that when you bring the get and you have to say B'fanei Nechtam has to do lefi she'ein b'kiyin l'shma is because people are not baki l'shma. Now, so what's the machlekes? Over here in the cities which are next to Eretz Yisrael, they're arguing. Tanakhama hold Hani Kivin the Smuchis Migmar Gmiri. He holds that the cities which are next to Eretz Yisrael, in other words, the people that live next to Eretz Yisrael are Baki and they know about Lishma. So when somebody brings the get there into Eretz Yisrael, he doesn't have to say B'fanei Nichtav or B'fanei Nechtam because these people are so close to Eretz Yisrael that they know about Lishma. And also Rabbi Gamliel is going to say no. Mivlois Gmiri. Smuchas Legmiri. The people that are Taka Muvlois that are absorbed in the Tchum Eretz Yisrael, they're Taka Baki. But the cities that are not Muvlois in Eretz Yisrael, but the next Eretz Yisrael, they're not Baki. And now Rabbi Eliezer is being machman says, even the cities which are absorbed in Eretz Yisrael, they are also part of Medina Sayyam, and therefore somebody who brings a get has to say b'fanei nichtav or b'fanei nechtam. Why? What's the reason? According to Rabbi Eliezer, he's going to say, since the Chachamim made a gzeira that somebody who brings from Medina Sayyam, that Yisrael, he has to say b'fanei nichtav or b'fanei nechtam. They didn't want to make a differentiation. Oh, you are muvlas, you're samach, you're this. You're out there at Yisrael, the same din. B'fanei nichtav or b'fanei nechtav. So Rabbi will tell you very simple. Everybody holds it has to do with fishein b'kiyin l'shma. So what's the machlekes? Machlekes is very simple. Tanakam is going to say the people that are next to Eretz Yisrael, move last to Eretz Yisrael, they know logically, they know about lishma. Rabbi Gamliel is going to say you're right about muvlois, but smuchos are not. Rabbi Elazar is going to say muvlois also not, but not because they don't know about it, because when the Chacham min gzeira like tachlek Medina Sayyam. If it's Medina Sayyam, it has to be across the board Medina Sayyam. Okay. Rabbi is going to tell you the Kula Alma, really all the Tanaim in the Mishnah, all the Tanoim in the Mishnah are going to hold that the reason why the shliach who brings from Medina Sayyam has to say b'fanei nichtav b'fanei nechtam is the fishein edim mitzuyim. The kaime is because you don't have edim in Eretz Yisrael who recognize, or you're not going to find edim who recognize the signatures of people outside of Eretz Yisrael. The Tanakama Sovar and the Tanakama. So what's the machlekes? Tanakama hold Hani Kivin the Smuchis Mishka Shichi. They're going to hold that the cities that are next to Eretz Yisrael, for sure you could find people, the cities or people next to Eretz Yisrael, you can find them to be Mekayim Nishtar. And therefore, he's going to hold that you don't have to be say b'fanai. And Gamliel is going to say muvloi shchichi smuchos leishchichi. People, the cities that are muvlas in the Tchum Eretz Yisrael that are mitzuyim and they can be mekayim the chesimis. But people who are smuchis that are leishchichi, and therefore the shluchim who bring from these cities which are muvlois b'tchum, they don't need to say b'fanai nichtav b'fanai nechtav. Now Rabbi Eliezer is going to come and say muvlais namiloi, that even muvlais also again shaloi tachlik Medina Sayyam. Okay. Now the Gemara is going to again try to tell you that the machlekes between Rab and Rav are really machlekes Tanai. Okay, so we tried once, knocked off. Now again, Tanai we learned in the Mishnah. Chacham say in its the Chacham say that the shliach leilach does not need to say b'fanei nichtav or b'fanei nechtam. Ella hamevi Medina Sayyam, only when he brings the get from outside of Eretz Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael, ve'ha and somebody brings from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz. Now, the Chachamim are basically, obviously, saying something the Tanakama didn't say. So, if the Chacham are saying that somebody who brings a get from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael, and somebody who brings back from Chutz La'aretz, from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, has to say b'fanai, must be Mechlal. Tanakama Sovar, Moilech, must be the Tanakama who say that when you bring a get from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, they will hold that you do not need to say b'fanai. Right? Otherwise, what's the Chacham and the Tanakama really arguing about? So the Chayra, the Gemara says, "My lab, you must be." What's the Yisrael Machlekes? The Mar Sovar, the Tanakama holds that the reason why the shliach has to say b'fanei nechtam is the fisha ein b'kiyin l'shma. The reason that the first opinion holds. Now, when you bring a get Medina Sayyam to Eretz Yisrael, you have to say b'fanai. Why? Because people outside of Eretz Yisrael not b'kiyin l'shma davdal and beis b'hanig miri. But these people in Eretz Yisrael who are bucky, that they know that things have to be written l'shma. So therefore, when a shliach who's in Eretz Yisrael brings it to Chutz La'aretz, he doesn't have to say b'fanai because he knows the din of lishma. In other words, people in Eretz Yisrael know about lishma. Omar Savar, it must be that the Chachamim will hold that you have to say b'fanei nichtav, b'fanei nechtav, even from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz must be l'visha ein edim mitzuyim l'kaime, because you're not going to find edim who are going to be mekayim the shtar in Chutz La'aretz from Eretz Yisrael. V'haninami l'shichi, and the people in Eretz Yisrael also are not. It goes hand in hand. If people in Eretz Yisrael not in America, so in America people not in Eretz Yisrael, it goes hand in hand. That's the machlekes. The Gemara says no. Rav Matar's Tamei, Rav Matar's Tamei. Rav Matar's Tamei. The Kula Hama Rav is going to tell you that everybody will agree that they all agree that why do you say b'fanei nichtav the v'shein b'kiyin l'shma is because the v'shein b'kiyin l'shma. Now, so why is it if it's l'fishein b'kiyin l'shma? Why is it that people from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, why do they have to say b'fanai according to the Chachamim? She's going to say very simple. Hacha over here, big zaydas meilech otu maybe come. They're arguing. If the Chachamim made the Gzeda of Melech, when you go from Eretz Yisrael, you have to say b'fanei nechtam because of the Chashash of when you bring the get from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. Tanakama Sarah like Gazina Malachatu maybe. The Chacham and Tanakama are going to say, no, you don't make such exeras over here. To go and make a exera that when people go from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, they have to say B'fanei Nichtav, because then the people, the Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael might not say B'fanei Nichtav. I don't make such exeras. But Abbanim Basrei Savri and the Chachamim, the last opinion will hold, then Gazina Malachatu maybe. That's one answer. But will tell you that what everybody agrees that everybody will agree that the reason why you say befanai is because you don't. So what's the Rabbanan Basrei coming along? Rabbanan Basrei, the first time in the Tanakama Udasi, the Rabbanan of the Mishnah, at the end of the Mishnah, are coming and explaining the shit of the Tanakama. That even when you bring from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, you have to say befanai nichtav, befanai nechtam. And the reason why the Tanakama didn't mention it, whatever is, that's what the Chacham themselves are coming to explain, that this is be'emes what the Tanakama hold. Okay. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, maybe you you feel like you're back in yeshiva now, hour and a half shit.
They're giving more details?
Wendy's like... What?
He's just giving more details, and he's going this way or that way.
Yeah. He's explaining. Okay, according to Rav. Okay. When you bring a get from country to country outside of Eretz Yisrael, you have to say b'fanei nichtav b'fanei nechtam. Now it's mashma the dafke from Medina to Medina. You have to say it. Now, when you're going from one country to another country, let's say you're going from France to England. So they're both Medina Sayyam, but it's going from country to country. So l'chera, you'd have to say, b'fanei nichtav, b'fanei nechtam. What if you're going, let's say, in England, Medina, then you would not have to say, the shliach would not have to say, b'fanei. So the Gemara says, l'Rava necha. According to Rava, who holds that the reason why the shliach has to say b'fanei nichtav, b'fanei nechtam, is because einei d'mesuyna kaima. So even in Medina Sayyam, as long as the get is sent from, so then according to Rava, it makes a lot of sense why in the same country you don't have to say b'fanai, because his swara was the fishein edim mitzvim l'kaimai, and now you have edim mitzvah m'kaim. But according to Rava, who says that the reason why the shliach has to say b'fanai is because because people outside of Chutz La'aretz are not b'ged l'shma. Kasha l'chera, the people even in the same country or in the same Medina in the same year should have to say b'fanei nichtav b'fanei nechtam, because they're not b'ged l'shma. So the Gemara says this: Lo yitema, don't say that Medina leMedina b'Medina Sayyam you have to say it. Ha ba'osim Medina b'Medina Sayyam lo yitzarich. Elaima, so say like this: Medina leMedina b'Eretz Yisrael. You have to add the words Medina leMedina in Eretz Yisrael. Then lo yitzarich. You don't have to say b'fanei nichtav. The Gemara says ha b'hed yaktani. That we learned b'ferish in the Mishnah. Maybe get Eretz Yisrael any tzarich lo yimer b'fanei nichtav b'fanei nechtam. So the chayda, if the Mishnah mentions this b'ferish, why would the Mishnah have to tell me this again? So the Gemara says this: if I would only teach me the first case, I would think that only b'di'evet. That even the chatchila, that even if somebody did not see the ksiv and the chasima of the get, he could still be a shliach to bring the get in Eretz Yisrael. Okay, we get a ma'isiv la hachi. Some people want to ask on this. We learned in the Mishnah that when somebody brings a get, Medina Medina, Medina Sayyam, he has to say b'fanei nichtav, b'fanei nechtam. Again, if Medina Sayyam, he has to say b'fanei nichtav, b'fanei nechtam, which is mashma ha Medina Eretz Yisrael, should imply from country to country in Eretz Yisrael. He doesn't have to say b'fanei nichtav. So l'Rabba makes a lot of sense, but l'Rabba kasha, because if you're saying the fishein edim mitzvim l'kaima, you have the same problem also Medina Eretz Yisrael. So the Gemara says lo yitema Medina Eretz Yisrael yitzarich aleima ha ba'is Medina Sayyam lo yitzarich. So the Gemara says, 1 second. Aval, but according to you, Medina Eretz Yisrael, my tzarich, what are you going to say? Tzarich, you have to say b'fanei nichtav. So listening, the Mishnah should have said, Hamevi Medina leMedina stam. It should have said that when you bring from country to country, then you have to say b'fanei nichtav, b'fanei nechtav. The Gemara says, La'ilam really b'Medina Eretz Yisrael nami l'tzarich. Really, when you bring from country to country, you also don't need to, in Eretz Yisrael, you also don't need to say b'fanei nichtav, b'fanei nechtav, even according to Rava. Why? The kim the ikoyle the golem mishkach shichi. Why? Because according to Rava, who holds that Medina and Eretz Yisrael, he's going to hold that the people, since they're Eiler Golim, Yerushalayim 3 times a year, you can always find people that will recognize the signatures, even if they're in another country. So it comes out that in Eretz Yisrael, even Medina, Edom are Mitzrayim L'Kaimah. So the Gemara says, Tina, B'zman Beis HaMikdash Kaim. That makes sense when the Beis HaMikdash was standing. B'zman Beis HaMikdash Kaim, Ma'ikal Meimer. What are you going to say now that the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed? The Gemara says, Kivin De'ika Bati Din Dekvi. Since you have established Bati Din in Eretz Yisrael, like Ezra instituted that you should have, right, in January Chamishi, Mishkach Shchichi, you're always going to have Edom that are going to be able to Mekayim the get. Okay, a little bit more. Tana, we learned in the Mishnah of Shimon Gamliel. Shimon Gamliel says, Afilu, even when you bring Magmani from one jurisdiction to another jurisdiction, you have to say B'fanei Nichtav, B'fanei Nechtav. Rabbi Yitzchak says, Ir Achas Ha'isa B'Eretz Yisrael. There was one city in Eretz Yisrael, V'asasi Shmo, and its name was Asasis. V'hayu ben Shtei Hagmanim Shei Makpidim Zalzeh, and this was between. It was again. There was one city in Eretz Yisrael, and its name was Asasis. And it was between two rulers that were makpid on each other not to go from one to another. Two what?
Two kings, no?
Yeah, two. What's the English? Kings, no? Not kings.
It's not a king. A king and a ruler is not the same thing.
What's the?
Jurisdictions.
Two jurisdictions. Yeah. That's what you have to say. B'fanei nechtam, ve'agmeini le'agmeina. You have to say when you bring the get from one jurisdiction to another. So the Gemara says, according to Rava, it makes sense. Why you have to say because since the Hagmanias are marked with one another, so therefore you're not going to be able to find Edim from one jurisdiction to the other jurisdiction. But according to Rabba, who says that two Hagmanias in Eretz Yisrael and the people in Eretz Yisrael, B'Kadei Shema, why, when you go from one Hagmani to one Hagmani in Eretz Yisrael, do you need to say B'fanei Nichtav or B'fanei Nechtav? So the Gemara says, you know what? Rabba Isli D'Rava. You should know that Rabba, now the Gemara finally buckles down. Before we wanted to say, each one wanted to for each other, and now the Gemara says, you know what? Rabba really holds of Rabba. In other words, according to Rabba, he'll hold that you have two institutions. Number one, like Rava says, the reason why you have to say B'fanei Nechtav is because L'fishein Edim Mitzrayim L'Kaimai, and Rabba's adding a second reason, and also the institute is L'fishein because the people outside of Eretz Yisrael are not B'Kadei Shema. So now the Gemara says Elo. So based on that, if my binayu, what's going to be the practical difference between Rabba and Rava? If Rabba holds like Rava, so what's the practical difference between them? So the Gemara says, the difference between the Asayu Beitrei, when two people from Medina Sayyam that the husband sent to be Megarish the wife. According to Rabba, you need to say B'fanei Nichtav or B'fanei Nechtam. Why? Because you still have the chashash of maybe it wasn't written Lishma. And that makes no difference if you have two or one. But according to Rava, if the whole reason is the Fishin Ein Edim Mitzrayim L'Kaimah, you have two Edim that are Mekayim Mishtar. Inami, a second nafkamina will be Ba'oisei Shliach, who brings a get from city to city. Ba'oisei Medina, B'Medina Sayyam. In other words, he brings from city to city in the same country, Medina Sayyam. According to Rava, you're going to need to say B'fanei Nichtav or B'fanei Nechtav because the people outside of Eretz Yisrael don't know the Shema. According to Rava, if the whole reason is the Fishin Ein Edim Mitzrayim L'Kaimah, over here it could be Mekayim the Star. Okay, Atkan.